Good afternoon, Sean here from Mountains Garage. It's the 4th of July and I'm in the shop just like every other day. AN fittings of the Pushlock variety is the subject today. I'll have to separate. You got AN fittings that you screw together and AN fittings that are pushed together. Either way, the business end, the 37-degree male and female, is the same. It's just how the hose attaches is the only difference in AN hoses. AN stands for Army Navy. It was a standard agreed upon around World War II. That the fitting, the cone in the fitting where it seals in the next fitting is 37 degrees. There's also 45 degree, and they're both still used. Believe it or not, all but two sizes, which I don't remember which two, 6 and 12 maybe, interchange, but that's a subject for another day. I am not a hose expert, despite spending my entire career working on big rigs, apparatus, equipment, plow trucks, etc. There's a lot to know. I don't claim to be an expert. First, a quick story. I'm right out of high school in my parents' garage, plumbing a tunnel ram on my big block 70 Chevelle. I'm going to do it the only way I know how, with rubber fuel line and hose clamps. I'm saved when my brother pulls in with a box of cloth reusable AN fittings and hose, and in a couple hours it looks magnificent under the hood compared to the mess I would have made doing it the only way I knew how. The reusable cloth that I mentioned, you do still see it around on air brake systems and stuff, but it's pretty rare. It's been replaced by what we all know, the braided stainless, where you assemble the hose, poke your fingers, all that stuff. And in later years, Pushlock has become pretty popular. Now you gotta be careful shopping for Pushlock because a lot of your big parts warehouse hose isn't rated for modern fuel. So make sure you get the stuff you got is rated for fuel with ethanol, if that's what you have, like we do here in Maine. I probably mentioned I'm not a hose expert, but I have learned a little bit about Pushlock, which is what this video is about. I'm going to do another one on AN fittings when I assemble those, because they are actually, I won't call them easier, they're just different. So the Pushlock, I'll turn the camera around, probably easier. When I started doing LS swaps, you got to do something for fuel line. I really don't know what everybody else does, but I first found this stuff. Well, let's back up. Let's talk about rubber hose just for a quick second. Your standard fuel line that you buy at the parts store is good for 12 psi. That's why when you put it on a transmission line, it blows up. If you run fuel line for rubber transmission lines, actual transmission line is good for 30 psi. I still don't use it, but that's a whole nother story. So, this is Pushlock hose, and it's rated for 300. This stuff's actually made in the USA. It's a smooth rubber kind. And the fittings themselves, where the hose joins, is actually flat. There's no cup. So you just shove the hose right in there. And these actually go together pretty good. I've had good results with either warming them up with a heat gun, not a torch, but a heat gun, or you put them in hot water. You can shove them in there pretty good. The first one I ever assembled, I was up on a ladder under the hood of the swap I was doing, and I tried to shove it on by hand, and wow, it went hard. But I guess if you got enough strength, you can do it. But either warm that up, or some method like that, and they go together pretty good. And that's what I've been using. But then recently, I was blessed, if you will, with this braided Pushlock. And the fittings now actually have a cup for the braid to go in, so I guess you could put that fitting on there, but if you put that braided one on that one that's flat, it's going to look terrible because there's nothing's going to hold the braid. It's going to unwind. So I got looking at this stuff, thinking to myself, how am I ever going to assemble that? Because that's like pushing a chain. It is wire inside, where this is cloth inside. This is wire. I don't know the rating on it. It's probably foreign. But I got 2 rolls of it and all kinds of fittings, so I got to use it. So what better way to assemble some foreign hose is with this expensive American-made machine. I just bought this, just took it out of the box, and I'm pretty impressed. I'll actually assemble a fitting for you, but it's pretty simple. On a curved hose, it actually hooks right like that. Not this, but that. On a straight hose, you actually put the fitting like that, and then you put it in the machine. So let's assemble it and put one together. They say you can use an air ratchet on that or a regular ratchet. I spun it with my fingers and pushed the hose on, so it didn't offer that much resistance. But this thing was $270. If you love tools and you got a lot of hose to do, and I was never impressed with that method, I sucked it up and bought it. Not for everybody, I guess, but I love tools. Now I'll place my fitting over the orange plug. The orange plug, again, is for straight fittings only. Otherwise, the fitting would go in there. Orange is for -6. They have adapters for number 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 in the box. All color-coded. You leave enough hose sticking out of the vise so it'll cover the nipple without bottoming out, or this won't bottom out in the slides. And I'm going to spin the nut by hand at first, and then this time figure what the heck, let's gun it. Let's see how far I can get by hand though. So not bad for my second attempt. I had one little piece of braid get caught, but I just tucked it back underneath my fingernail. And yeah, you can feel it. It's all the way in. The vise will actually start sliding on the hose. It's pretty slippery once it bottoms out. And yeah, again, I didn't try heating this or put it in water. But I kind of dig this tool. Sometimes just looking forward to doing something makes it worth it, I guess, but to each his own. That's a Pushlock hose as I know it. Have a great day. Happy 4th of July.